This is Matthew's father. So, based on my clinical reasoning, I believe that Matthew has two different types of sensory processing disorder: bilateral integration sequencing deficit and tactile defensiveness, which is affecting his vestibular and proprioceptive input. Bilateral integration refers to our ability to use both sides of our body at the same time. People with this category of sensory processing disorder often have difficulties with timing and sequencing of movement and when using both sides of the body at the same time. So that can be observed through Matthew's inability to kick a ball while running or riding his bicycle. Sequencing is our body's ability to perform activities in the correct order. Deficits in this area can explain why he can't get his clothes on correctly, put all the steps together when riding his bike, or solving through new motor skills. This directly affects Matthew's ability to engage in occupations of play, dress, and social participation. Matthew's tactile defensiveness, however, is affecting his body's ability to dress and eat, and it's probably the reason that he's very picky about various sections of clothes and food that he comes in contact with. This can also explain why Matthew overreacts to normal touch and loud noises, things that we hear or get exposed to on a day-to-day basis that we may not think is very triggering, could be very triggering for someone like him. And this tactile defensiveness causes them discomfort and behavioral reactions, which can interfere with his ability to learn, dress, eat, and engage with his peers socially. So, with this, we have the sensory systems that are involved and what neurological receptors are involved. And don't worry, I'll explain them. So, within the vestibular component, which is basically just your body's movement, is awareness of this could be things like spinning, jumping, or anything like that. So, with the receptors, we have hair cells in the utricle and saccule, and hair cells in our semicircular canals. They're just like really tiny receptors in our ear that get shaken and stirred and things like that, and that's what receives that information. With proprioception, that's just your awareness of your body's awareness of itself in space. So this is received by your muscle spindles, the Golgi tendon organ, Meissner corpuscle, Merkel receptors, Pacinian corpuscle, Ruffini ending, and hair receptors. And all of these receptors are all over our body. And as we reach out, it kind of feels the air around and it predicts where your body actually is without you having to look. And then tactile is just touch. So every time I touch myself, my body knows exactly where I'm touching, and vice versa. If someone were to touch me, or if I were to touch you, you would be able to tell where I was touching you without actually physically seeing it. So these touch receptors are also known as mechanoreceptors. And then, so for a sensory-based intervention for Matthew, I think he really needs some calming input for the tactile defensiveness. So when he goes to school, he can wear compression garments or compression clothes under his regular clothes, and this will provide deep pressure, which is a calming thing for his tactile system. Because whenever we get hit by something or something, we tend to rub our skin, and that relieves the pain or whatever sensation we're feeling. That'll do the same thing for Matthew, but constantly throughout the day. And then for a leisurely lifestyle occupation or things that he can do at home, I know he once told me that he loves to read, and he's a very avid reader while he's at home. So whenever he's reading at home, you can just place a weighted blanket over him. And this will provide that input for his tactile system that we discussed with the compression garments. And he'll be able to do that all the time. And it's super comfy. All right, thanks for coming to see me.